Good day, everyone. I am Christine, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone to today's webinar, a leadership guide to employee departures, do's and don'ts in today's workplace. I would like to introduce our presenter for today, Caroline T. Rickens. Caroline T. Rickens is the founder and owner of CDR Consulting Services, LLC. Ms. Rickens has garnered numerous honors for being the region's top performing manager of the year. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, Caroline.
Thank you so much, Christine. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I want to applaud all those who have taken the time to invest in themselves today to really make a big difference in what we're going to be talking about today. Today, we're going to cover a lot of information and we're going to get clarity on this topic today. We're going to be talking about Leadership Guide to Employee Departure, the do's and don'ts in today's workplace. And we're going to talk about a specific type of departure. We're going to really get into this and really get some information that's going to help you. It's going to help you to navigate some of these difficult challenges that we do face today in the workplace. This webinar, we're going to cover information specifically talking about termination, employees termination. And we're going to get more in detail into it, but we're also going to explain to you the difference in departure and termination. That way we can get a full understanding. But most of all, we're going to talk about the legal compliance of it, reducing the legal risk. This training today is going to help you to navigate through this difficult type of topic. We're going to cover these areas. We're going to talk about, the more of understanding what is employee departure, what is employees termination. We're going to talk about the types of employees being terminated. We're going to talk about at will. We're going to talk about government. We're going to talk about contract. These are different types of employees termination that we're going to talk about these areas. We're also going to talk about one of my favorite, which is the company termination policies. We're going to talk about the federal and state laws. We're going to talk about the checklist. The fun part about it is the 10 commandments of conducting a termination meeting. We're going to talk about the severance packages. We're going to talk about the waivers of legal rights, unemployment claims, and most of all, we're going to talk about how do you close this, what's the next step after you have done a termination, just to make sure that you cover every part of it. This is what this training is all about, is understanding what type of departure that we're going to cover. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is understanding what is employee departures and what is employee termination. So what is employee termination? What is that? So it refers to a situation in which the employee leaves the organization. What is termination? Well, this is when the employment relationships is no longer existing anymore. Now, why is this distinction matter for leaders? And why focus on termination? So I wanted to share this with you. Now we're going to talk more. We're going to concentrate on termination, the repercussion for organizations, wrongful termination cases costing organization. Now let's talk about what not to do. Now let's get into the classification: at will, government employment, and contract employment. Now we're talking about at will. Employers don't need to provide a reason for termination. They don't. When we're dealing with at will, coaching and performance improvement and corrective action before termination. The exceptions where corrective action may be required. Also talk about unlawful reasons. Now, at will, the risk, employment risk of terminating without documentation. Now, at will employment, we talk about the performance improvement and the corrective plan. Employees' rights under at will. This is government employment, typically involves working for the government agencies or organizations, whether it's federal or state or local, the career classified employees, the civil service employees. They're the ones who work for government. How a government employee can be terminated. Let's talk about the contracts employees. This occurs when an employer and employee enter into a legal binding. You have to make sure that you do this with contract employees. Here's an important note. How can an employee be terminated within the 90-day probational period? And then also talk about the government. Again, performance deficiency, misconduct and policy violations, and in the budget and reorganization issue. And then, of course, the contract. Review the employment contract. Now, we're going to talk about the review of company termination policy, examination, of the company's termination policy. Make sure it is clear. Now, the different terminations. What causes termination? On-duty substance consumption. This is where somebody who has, have brought on the grounds, the premises of your organization, drugs or alcohol. Attendance. I just want to share with you some federal and state laws related to wrongfully termination. It varies from state to state. Compliance challenges, organizations operating in multiple states. Example of state-specific laws. Now, here's your list when you're dealing with when you get ready to terminate an employee. You want to make sure that you have this information. The 10 Commandments I want to share with you as well too, because conducting a termination meeting. Keep it short and sweet. Severance packages, just want to share with you key considerations for individuals termination and group layoffs. Now, severance package, when you're dealing with an individual termination, now we talk about severance package with a group layoff, totally different. The waiver of legal rights for individuals, and when you're dealing with the waiver of rights for the group layoff, unemployment claim, eligibility, and documentation, unemployment claims, so a group layoff. Now, when you talk about a mass layoff notification, now at the very end, I will tell you, once you've completed your termination, you had that conversation, now you want to make sure you give the final pay and the benefits. And in the workplace, violence consideration. Anytime you're dealing with, and I don't want anybody to not think that just follow what your organization have in place, because it's important. You don't want to do something different, but follow it. And then handling, handling. Now, we've gone through everything. We've gone through everything, what to do, what not to do. Now we're going to end this with what to do. You have steps in place. Again, this training today, it's all about the departure, dealing with termination. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline, for the great presentation.
Yes, so I would say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for investing in yourself today, as I say right here. I would say when you're dealing with this type of issue, again, when you're dealing with departure, that's dealing with termination, make sure you always get HR involved. Don't do it by yourself. Always make sure you have your legal counsel. Make sure you follow your company policies and procedures, because that is going to help you to navigate if you have to and when you have to do termination. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. And that concludes the session for today. Thank you, everyone, for participating. And you may all disconnect now and have a great day.
Thank you.